All right, welcome aboard, everybody. My name is Doobyis. This is an episode of a interview series that I've been doing called Fly in Formation, where I've been talking to artists across the country. People who I think kind of deserve to get their name out there a little bit more. People who are making dope hip hop. I think I've done up around 30 of these, so make sure that you check out my YouTube page or my Twitch page. These things happen live on Twitch, normally on Tuesdays. I've got, I think, 5 more of them booked every Tuesday for the next 5 weeks, and working on more after that constantly. So, yeah, make sure you tap in there. You can find the archives for the mix show that I do, where I play people's independent music, independent hip hop every week. I never play anything twice. And likewise there, the goal is to try to get as much new music in as many ears as I can. You can find that over at mixcloud.com/Doobyis. Doobyis.com is the hub for everything I do. Today, though, I am being joined by an MC from Winnipeg named Len Bowen. He's got a new project out called Nothing for Granted. I've played some music off of that for sure in the past, I don't know, month or two of After the Smoke is Clear mixes. But yeah, happy to have you aboard, Len. How you doing today, man? Hey, man, life is good. Life is good over here. We're enjoying the summer. Yeah, man. So new project, dude. Actually, you know what? I wanted to start this interview asking a different question. Before we get to your new project, Len Bowen, is that real name, no gimmicks, or is this a pen name that was chosen to sound like it might be a real name? Word, man. Yeah, I would have assumed that, but I've talked to different artists, like my homie Eddie Jones, actually, a friend of the show or whatever, surprised me when he told me that Eddie Jones was just a name that he had chosen. I was like, oh, okay, well, word, all right. But yeah, shouts to Eddie. Yeah, dude. So this project, Nothing for Granted. I wanted to talk to you a bit about it. I've played a few singles off of it. I think I played Late to the Party most recently. I played Waves a little while before that. I played the first single that was on, oh, a beat by a producer whose name I can't draw. What was the first single, man?
So there was Toast Up. You probably thinking Toast Up. Toast Up kind of came off like the official first single
Yeah,
for this project.
a
Yeah,
little bit more
featuring Tough
recently,
Enough.
Toast Up. That was the
Yeah,
one that I was thinking
yeah,
of. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So like real Jamaican vibes across the output. Is that something you're closely rooted to?
Yeah, my parents are Jamaican. I'm a first generation Jamaican, here in Canada. So it just comes through naturally. And when I was selecting beats, there was a lot of beats this time around that kind of had, the island vibes, yard vibes, and I wasn't shying away from it because it is part of me.
Yeah, hell yeah. I love to hear the influence from different cultures kind of brought into hip hop like that. And of course, like, Jamaican rhythms have been something that hip hop was foundationally built on in the first place or whatever. So it's dope to
Right.
hear, a Canadian artist out there doing music that is strongly influenced that way or whatever, man. I liked it. Can we talk about the name? So Nothing for Granted, all one word, no vowels across it.
Right.
If people are looking to buy that, I think it's up on your Bandcamp, right?
Yeah, it's on Bandcamp, Spotify, all streaming platforms got it right now. So
So right on it.
yeah,
But the name though, like, um, had you been taking something for granted, or is there something that you kind of feel like artists are taking for granted out there, or how'd you get to that name, man?
you know, when you're in this business or any type of business, whether you act, whether you do music, whether you're an athlete, it's a lot of it has to do with building relationships. and people you meet over the years, you go through your ups and downs. So basically, I took that title in the sense of my journey getting to this point where I put out my first full length, taking nothing for granted, all the relationships I've established, conversations I've had with people, opportunities that were presented to me over the years, just looking back and just being grateful for everything that got me to this point.
Nice, man. I like that.
Yeah.
I think it's important to have that gratitude or whatever. It keeps things in perspective a lot. Has it been a long road to get to this stage? Like how'd you first get into hip hop, or when did you first start making music, man?
It's been a long road. It's been overdue. I used to be part of a group called the Shades, and I started real young. We've been making music for like, if I include what I did with the Shades, at least 20 years. So after the group kind of dismantled, I still wanted to make music. My boys, they just had enough, like I said, ups and downs,
Yeah.
disappointments when you do rollouts for projects and things don't always go your way. And I wasn't done with it. Like in the group, I wasn't the main guy. I wasn't the front man. I was sort of like an artist slash businessman.
Okay.
So that even disappointed me more because I felt like the guys in the group never really saw themselves the way I did as far as their potential went. So when it was all said and done, I said, no, I'm not finished. And I know what I'm capable of. Maybe I should just focus more on being the front man and doing my thing. So I started releasing EPs, and I took a slight break just because of personal things. And then I got back into it heavy around the start of the pandemic, which led me to this point 3 years later.
Nice, nice. So,
Yeah.
like you mentioned, of course, with yourself and with other people, as well as just with every artist I've talked to, right? It's a tough balance to balance life and being an independent artist because the money's not coming back. People put a lot of money, a lot of effort, a lot of time into making their music. And so, you mentioned that maybe some people had expectations of releases or whatever that just kind of weren't coming through, or that, I can guess would be financial expectations not coming through. And it's people decide it's time to go get jobs, do whatever else, right? Life is always throwing curveballs, like you say. Is is there is there a time when you would step back from music, or is this just something kind of that you'll always do regardless of whether the numbers are there or not?
I mean, if it was because of money, I would have quit a long time ago. So,
Right.
it's a part of me, and I'm gonna keep making music. Um, you know, as long as I want to, but it's never, if I was to ever walk away from it, which I doubt, it wouldn't be because of money. Money and resources are always a challenge for an
Yeah.
independent artist, right? So no, that's not a deterrent. I believe in, the laws of attraction, and if you're working hard, people are gonna meet you halfway in one way or another. So
Hell yeah, man. Opportunity starts popping up if people are putting in time.
exactly.
Can we talk about like the recording process for this album? How'd you actually end up, getting on the tracks? Were you in studio or home recording or?
Yeah, I was in the studio for the whole time, and Tough Dumpling, who produced the entire project,
That's who
he's
I was looking for. Tough Dumpling. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah. So he's based out of Brooklyn right now. So basically, I jump in the studio over here. Any features I had within my city, I had them come in the studio. Anybody else, everybody was just really sending me files, and I'd record here and basically send him files to get everything arranged and mixed and, just sounding right.
Beautiful.
That was pretty much the process. It took a lot of time because this project is kind of, there's a lot of features. It's very collaborative, and I was kind of curating a lot on this, but I had a vision. I I see, I hear the music, and I see what it needs or what I'd like it to be, and I go out of my way to bring these ideas to life. And I think on this particular project, more than any other one I did in the past, it really, the picture I painted was as clear as I could possibly do it.
Nice. So, can we talk a little bit about that picture? Like, what picture? Like, what is the thesis? You know, what picture were you trying to paint for people with this album? Is there a overarching uh kind of statement you were making?
Just never give up on yourself.
Right.
Never give up on yourself, no matter what you're going through in your personal life, what you're going through with the politics and music. Just find it inside yourself to keep pushing forward. That's what this project's all about.
Hell
You
yeah,
know, I've
man.
been making music for mad years, and like any other artist, seen a lot of ups and downs, disappointments, but you just got to keep pushing. You can't walk away from it for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, yeah. Don't get discouraged about it or whatever, right? That's I hate to see when artists announce that they've quit rapping because yeah, to me I look at it as like an art form where there are people out there who paint pictures in their basement and nobody ever sees it. They're not trying to put these things out at galleries or whatever. And like you see people making posts where it's like my grandmother passed away. Look at these beautiful paintings she made throughout her life or whatever. There's just so
Yeah,
much talent out there that I think it's a bit of a shame that like music is looked at as such a commodity that people get this idea that if it's not paying your bills, if it's not um, returning financially to you, that it's not worth time or effort. Whereas I think there's the cathartic release to it. There's just inspiring other people to think and act differently too can be a big thing that artists have a lot of power for. Um,
yeah.
yeah, man. I mean, one question I ask a lot of different people that kind of gets to the heart of like why you're creating music a little bit is, do you have more fun on stage or, well, fun is the wrong word. Do you get more fulfillment on stage? Do you get more fulfillment from just making the music?
For me, it's just making the music. I love the stage aspect, but just when I'm recording and everything just comes out sounding exactly how I like it. Um, you know, the cadences, just my delivery. If I get the delivery right and I sell it to you on the track, I know the job's done.
Yeah.
It's not enough to have the bars and, be lackadaisical or just, sound like you're just reciting something off paper. You really got to go in the booth, sell it, kill the beat that you're on, and people will take it in a
Hell,
different way.
hell yeah, man. Um, is that the strategy then? Like, because as an artist in 2023, we've all we're faced with this modern landscape where there are so many artists making music, and I think everybody looks at it like, okay, so how do I do this my own way? So I wanted to ask you, like, what's your strategy, man? You must put some effort in to doing this because a lot of the interviews I've been doing are with guys through Han Solo, right? And that's because Thomas from Han Solo has reached out and put some of these interviews together. And likewise, you had somebody reach out. I don't know if it's a manager, publicist, or what title, homie, but somebody reached out that wasn't you and kind of asked like, hey, could we do this interview to help promote the album? So there's obviously some sort of promotional team and push there. Can you just talk a little bit about like, is it important to get music out to the people, like the promotional push? How much effort are you putting in on the promotional side of things?
Yeah, so that was my manager Wayne who reached out to you, and I got a team, behind me, and it doesn't matter how good your music is if nobody's hearing it, then what's the point? So the whole idea is we feel like we came up with a great body of work, and now, it's old school to think that you're going to put this music out and people are just it's just gonna fall in the right hands. Somebody's gonna hear it, and
Yeah.
you know, in a
There are no
perfect
more
world.
A&Rs coming knocking on artists'
Yeah,
doors or whatever. Not till you
yeah.
have a million followers or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, this game is proactive, not reactive at this point. You gotta it doesn't matter how nice you are, how good the song is, you still gotta go out of your way to get it to people, right? To get people to recognize. So, I got a strong team. It's not a big team, but it's a strong team, and everybody is hyper focused on the win right now. So that's what we're doing. This is our campaign. This is our rollout, and we're going strong. So
Dope. Yeah, that goes a long ways, man. I mean, it's almost cliche to say it, but everybody who makes it seems to have a team behind them. Like doing it yourself is tough.
yeah,
I something that I ask a bunch of different rappers is, can you sum up the local scene? Like, you're based in Winnipeg. If
right.
I ask you to, how would you describe the Winnipeg hip hop scene?
Winnipeg hip hop scene is it's really diverse. Like, Winnipeg, we're in the middle of Canada, and people are influenced by, West Coast rap, East Coast, Midwest, the South. So a lot of guys out here, you'll hear they kind of got their own thing going on, but you can kind of hear influences. And then you've got the extreme where you've got artists who just, sound dead Canadian. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which I respect totally, because it's all about being comfortable in your own skin, and having that come across, and letting people gravitate to that.
Well,
But
and regional
myself,
sound has been successful, in hip hop across the map, right? Like, yeah, they're
exactly.
totally.
Yeah. Yeah. So, we're really into our lyrics out here. It's all about the bars. You know, if you're saying something and you go to a hip hop show where people are really there for that, um, you know, cutting the beat and just spitting bars to dead air, anything like that, people really appreciate. It's a town where people are just about really cutting the bullshit out, and seeing who you really are.
Seeing skills,
So
right? Yeah.
exactly.
So lyrically, um, are you, because there's several different schools of thought, I feel like, right now in hip hop with lyrics, and some guys are going so straightforward, kind of real to the point lyrics. There's not a lot of hidden depth. You're going to catch what they're saying the first time through, and I think
Yeah.
that approach is, commercially successful, or whatever. Like, that's a way to get your message out there for sure, and people will pick it up. But I think that a lot of kind of lyrical hip hop heads gravitate towards trying to have a little bit more hidden meanings, or word plays you might not catch the first time through. Where do you stand when you're writing lyrics, man?
I would say, I mean, if you listen to the project, I'm somewhere in the middle. Like, I'm all about balance. I got songs where it's cut and dry, it's pretty straightforward what I'm saying. Then I got songs that'll go a bit deeper, where if you listen a few times, you'll hear references I make to other things. You'll hear double entendres, metaphors, analogies. You'll hear all of that.
Yeah.
And then you'll hear tracks where it's like I'm kind of, targeting the female persuasion, and it's just me spitting game, to be honest, and trying to make it clever in a way. So I'm all over the place. Um, you know,
Different
time and
songs, right?
repetition. Yeah,
Yeah.
different song, time and repetition, trial and error. Every song on this project is its own thing. So you for one thing, I wasn't trying to do was, make it repetitive. And it's a very condensed body of work. It's a very short, full length album. So the challenge for me was, how can I make this and give you as much as I possibly can, and not make it repetitive in in this time frame. And I feel like we accomplished that.
Yeah, yeah, I
You
think
know,
so too, man. It's there's a lot of different flavors on that, and you know you've got, like you said, songs that'll play in a club or in a dance situation. You got
right.
songs, you know, that the women are gonna like. Yeah, it's you got it all on there, man. And then the harder stuff too, like that toast up track and stuff too, a little bit. Um, you know, I think it's all there, dude. But it made me wonder about like kind of influences. Like, are you listening to a lot of different types of music, or what type of stuff are you listening to lately?
Lately, to be honest, you know, hip hop is really it's not exactly where um I've enjoyed it the most.
Right.
You know, I
I
was
love how
raised
rappers
on
always have to be so careful about like not sounding like a hater, old head, or whatever. But yeah, totally,
yeah,
man. I know what you're saying.
yeah, like I was raised on like late 80s, early 90s hip hop, and going forward, I got a lot of family that immigrated also from Jamaica to New York. So I spent a lot of time out there for years, back and forth between Canada and the US. And it comes across in my music because when I'm out there, I feel so alive. I just appreciate the fact that what you see is what you get out there. There's no undertones with
Yeah,
people, and I'd always come back inspired. You know, my confidence would be up, and it comes across in my music. You know, so that's really what it is with me. As far as what I'm listening to right now, I'm all over the place. I'm just trying to find good music. Period. You
nice,
know.
man. Yeah, I mean, that's what I try to do on After the Smoke is Clear on the mix show. Is like every week I'm sifting through probably 4 or 5 hours worth of music to whittle it down to my favorite hour and play that.
Right.
And you know, me too. I don't want to sound like the old head hater or whatever, but my roots are in lyrical boom bap music. Now that's not to say that everything I'm going to play is always going to be boom bap, right? Like I do play
Yeah.
trap stuff. I'll do trap episodes. I'll do like dance, you know, full hour worth of music that you can dance to. It takes me a little bit longer to put those episodes together. Because I like to try to find the ones where guys are still barring up over top of a trap beat or over top of, you know, something that you can dance to or whatever. And it does happen. There's so much good music that comes out. So yeah, like honestly, I tell artists like tap in. I know that if you would have asked me 5 years ago, I would have known, you know, been able to name 10 different Canadian rappers or whatever. Uh, and felt good, pat myself on the back for being able to do that, honestly, right? Like, and now, man, I'm following 500, 600 of them, and there's so much music that comes out every week that, like, if you feel like you don't have time, tap into After the Smoke is Clear. I do my best to put music that I feel like hip hop heads will like into hour long mixes, and you know your music fits into that really well. So yeah, like I said, I've been playing you plenty, man. Um,
Oh,
but yeah, dude, tap in. Uh, this is something actually that what you were just talking about kind of made me think of, but I actually had written it down as something I want to start asking artists. It's a little bit of a philosophical question, I guess, but is there a right and a wrong way to make hip hop?
no, there's not. There's no cut and dry way to do this thing. It's just about being creative,
Yeah,
and it's important to not think like that because that'll stunt growth. It's about thinking outside of the box
nice.
and taking risks, taking deliberate risk, in order to just have that magic moment where that epiphany where you might come across, you might develop a new flow,
Yeah,
just something that nobody's ever experienced or heard before that might change the game.
I agree
You know,
completely,
like
man. Pushing in new directions is where you're going to find those magic moments, and where the crowd's going to hear something. You know, the audience, the listeners are going to hear something and go, "Oh, that's different." You know, like they're taking it places that I haven't heard before, and I think that's how you stand out. That's how you, yeah, build something that actually
exactly.
lasts too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think what artists including myself, at times have to remind themselves of is if you blow tomorrow, anything you do and I'm just speaking about my genre, anything you do or say, anything you do becomes hip hop at that point.
Yeah.
If if you blow tomorrow, you remember that. So it's important to do your best to, be comfortable with yourself and just try to push the envelope in there, just do something new.
Yeah, man, I like that. I like that a lot. I think there'll be, if I ask that question to enough different rappers, I think I will get both sides of that argument, uh, spoken out, because there'll definitely be some guys who will, tell me that there's a right way and that some people make music in the wrong way or whatever. But personally, I look at it like it's all art, and like even conversations about like, top five or like best rapper alive, which is like so popular for everybody to debate online. I kind of look at it, I'm just like, guys, it's art. Like there's a best song for any given situation.
Right.
There's a lot of dope artists who have, been out there doing their thing. Like it seems kind of inherently ridiculous to me to try to call like best rapper alive. While I got you here though, can I ask you who's the best rapper alive? What do you think on that?
The best rapper breathing right now? Jeez. Who would I say?
Or cop
Wow.
out like I just did. I mean, whatever. But
Yeah, I can't call it. I can't say.
yeah, I like that answer just fine, man. That, like I said, that makes most sense to me. Um,
Yeah.
Dude, what is the best way for listeners who like your music or like other independent artist music to support? Because I don't
You
think
know,
anybody's really buying music right now. You know?
right. Just be on all the streaming platforms, Spotify, Bandcamp, Apple Music. I'm on the gram. My handle is shout out Len Bowen in my link tree. Every video, album, interview, you name it, it's right there for you.
Nice,
So tap in.
nice. Are you gonna be doing threads off your Instagram or whatever?
Oh, the
The
threads.
threads,
You
yeah, the new
know
one.
what? I didn't even really understand at first what was going on with that. I added it and then I said, why am I adding this? But then it was explained to me how it works. It's kind of like adding what Twitter does
Yeah, it's
to the gram, right?
yeah.
Um I get, you know what? You got to stay on top of things. You can't fall behind. So it is something eventually that I'll have there.
Weird. How do you feel about social media in general? I like asking artists that too because it's a big part of what we're supposed to all be doing and promoting ourselves and all this, but a lot of artists don't love it.
And I'm part of that club. It's only because it's necessary at this point. You're falling behind if your internet hustle isn't on point.
Yeah.
It's just something that you got to do. It's rolling with the punches. But personally, I can't stand it. My presence would be so minimal if it didn't have to do with my music. You
Yeah.
know.
I can agree with that for sure, man. Um, yeah, I'm on there to promote, this show and promote the mixes and all that stuff, promote my music. But beyond all that, I agree with you. I don't love the idea of just like sharing my pictures with people or whatever it
Yeah.
is we're supposed to be doing. Yeah, it is one reason that I started doing these interviews though too, was just because there's so many artists who I genuinely wonder about, like listening to all this music or whatever. Constantly finding new artists who I'm like, I kind of like to know that person's story or whatever. You're one of those people who have just kind of stumbled across on the way here. Like I was playing your music on Atzik before, the email about this popped up in my
Yo,
inbox or whatever.
appreciate you, man.
Yeah, man. I
Appreciate
mean,
it.
I do what I can just to keep the radar up and like find. I think it was probably through the Tough Dumpling beat that I heard
Okay.
your music in the first place or whatever, because he works with like Navi the North quite a bit and
Yeah.
kind of paying attention over in that direction as well. So yeah. But yeah, man, I don't want to take your time up too much. I appreciate you coming by. There is one question I like to ask everybody that I haven't asked you yet. Could you point people towards another artist or several other artists if you want to, who are I mean, maybe from Winnipeg, from the local scene, or just other indie artists who you want to give shouts to. But part of
Well,
this show is just about spreading love. So yeah,
no doubt. So I'm gonna be biased overall and just rep my city as hard as I can
yeah, do
because
it,
I
man.
feel like we need the love. So Super Duty Tough Work, crazy group
Yeah,
doing big things, doing real things. Check them out. The Lytics, check them out. I'd have to say Odario, my brother Odario, check him out. He's in Toronto, but he's originally from Winnipeg. Fourth Quarter Records, all those artists on that label, check them out. Some dangerous MCs on that label, and yeah,
I love it,
Tough
man.
Dumpling.
That's new names for me. A couple of those I know. Super Duty Tough Work. I've been playing
Yeah,
them on the last couple mixes. They got a new one on the way. I think it might even be
yeah,
fresh released, but yeah, they got a new album coming. Um, a couple of those other names though, I'll have to look into. Fourth Quarter, you said, and
yeah.
Odario.
Fourth Quarter Records, Odario, the Lytics. Yeah,
Yeah, dope.
Peanuts and Corn Records, all the artists over there.
Nice, man.
Lots of talent in Winnipeg. We're coming. We're coming.
When you're looking for new artists to work with, are you reaching out locally to artists before you're going to a wider base, or how are you finding artists to work with right now?
I'm just paying attention because I have to be online all the time, and I'm an active part of the arts community and the scene in Winnipeg. So I'm always being exposed to new rappers, singers, DJs, whatever you do. And if I feel like it can, work with, what I'm doing, I'll reach out to you. I'll just I'll come up to you, I'll DM you, whatever, and just see if you're ready to work. 9 out of 10 times in the city, they've already heard of me, so they're on board. They know I'm not playing it. If I say it's gonna happen, you'll see it come to life. So
Dope, dope. Well, I appreciate your time to do this. Appreciate you, being somebody who's pushing for the entire Winnipeg scene out there. And yeah, man, I look forward to releases coming up. Feel free to send them over for the show. Always happy to play stuff over there on AtSick. Anything else we should plug? You got any shows or tours or whatever coming up?
I got a show for the Black music professional in my city September 1st. I just finished a string of playing shows out here. We got our Canadian elite basketball team, the Sea Bears. I just did that last weekend out here, but there'll be things coming up. But
Dope.
just, thank you for having me, Dubious. And, shout out to Tough Dumpling because without him, this project couldn't have happened. He pushed me, he made me challenge myself. So just salute Tough Dumpling and everybody who runs with him, Black Sun Sound, Fourth Quarter Records, and yeah, that's
Dope.
it.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. I'll put an end to this, and we'll get this interview online. Next week sometime. I'll get the just quick sound edits off, and yeah, get it posted up on YouTube and stuff. Thanks,
Sounds
man.
good. Thank
Appreciate
you.
you. All right. So once again, everybody, that was Fly Information with Len Bowen. Next Friday, the first Friday in August, is Bandcamp Friday. So if you've been waiting to pick up music from indie artists, you should definitely do that. If you don't know indie artists who you should be supporting, tap into After the Smoke is Clear at Sick Radio every week. I'm doing music mixes made up entirely, the entire unedited hour of new hip hop from coast to coast, indie artists. I play some of the bigger stuff in there too. Just my rule of thumb is you got to be able to go back to back with the dopest artists in the industry, because sometimes, you know, I want to play that new track from Black Star or whatever, but for the majority of shows we're up around like 90-95% Canadian content. I never play anything twice, and yeah, you could find the entire archives mixcloud.com/Doobyis. That's an award that I won for season 2. You can find season 2, 3, and ongoing episodes of season 4 over at mixcloud.com/Doobyis. Tap in also Doobyis.com if you want to support. There's like a PayPal link if you want to, you know, throw me a little bit of cash to keep the show going. That's always appreciated. Hit the like and subscribe here on Twitch, and keep coming back. I've got interviews every Tuesday lined up throughout August. August 8th, I'm talking to Thomas Quinlan from Hand Solo Records. He's the guy that runs the label. August 15th, I'm talking to Old Gorilla Bones / The Dirty Sample. You know, so if you've never seen those two guys in the same room at once, you want to tap in and watch that. That's gonna be dope. He's got a new album out called Revenge Volume 2. August 22nd, I'm talking to Epic from Saskatoon Folk Rap Records. He has been a vet in the kind of underground indie Canadian hip-hop scene for a long time out here on the prairies. That'll be a dope talk. After that, another OG from the prairie hip-hop scene. It's Arlo Maverick, Edmonton-based MC from a group called Politic Live, as well as, you know, his solo endeavors. Looking forward to talking to him. And then just today I booked one, September 5th. I'm going to be talking to Frost Gamble, who is as well based in Winnipeg. He's a producer who works with an MC named Tone Chop, who's in East New York. Those guys are dope as hell, and I play them all the time on AtSick. But yeah, tap in. I appreciate y'all. I might jump back on here later and play some video games or work on this week's episode of AtSick. I should mention as well, DJ Baggy Lean is my homie up in Edmonton who's going to be, you know, the actual DJ on After the Smoke is Clear now. I'm gonna just sit back and curate, pick songs, and host them. He's doing all the wikis on the 1s and 2s, and holding it down on the wheels of steel for the show for at least the time being. I don't know. We'll see. He's still having fun, he says. So I told him don't let it become stressful, but that's where we're at now. I'm really happy to have him on board, and I think that the show is going to be elevated to a level that I've always kind of wanted it to be at because of that. So yeah, I'm stoked, but thanks for coming through, everybody. Have a good one.